Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to our fake news broadcast. We have found some breaking news today that we think you might find interesting. While digging through our archives, we found a video from a long time ago that we believe you viewers may find interesting. Watch and tell us what you think.
Hi, I'm JD, your weatherman. It's been very foggy outside lately. It makes me feel very isolated. Watch out for the roads and keep safe.
And now with us we have Mr. Jonathan Harkin. Jonathan, I'm so glad to see that you're home safe. Would you mind telling me about your experience at the castle?
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. Okay, so this man, Dracula, whose house I was living in and who happens to be one of my clients, I swear to you I saw him climbing down the walls of his castle once. As well as I'd walk throughout the building and I find these three crazy women who seem to want to take bites of me. On top of that, too, I swear to you, one morning I was shaving in my mirror and he came up right behind me, but I couldn't see him in the mirror. It was like he had no reflection.
What do you think this was caused by? Do you think he had maybe, I don't want to sound too crazy, special powers or something? What do you think was going on?
I don't know, but something weird was going on.
Now joining us, we have Miss Lucy. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm just losing a lot of blood lately, but Van Helsing's taking good care of me.
What's causing your blood loss, do you think? What's going on?
Yeah, I have no idea. It's just really bad.
Have you been encountering anything recently, or?
No, not really. It's just Van Helsing. He's just taking good care of me, and I'm just trying to recover.
We now move to our local penitentiary, where one of the patients seems to be going on a rampage.
Stop.
I have to find my master.
There you have it, folks. Real living proof that the book Dracula is a book of real events. As well, in an unincluded portion of the video due to bad referencing and bad video quality, they also include talk about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, leaving us to believe that maybe that book was real too. What about other Gothicism books? What do you think, folks? Leave your comments below.
Those monsters actually existed. It's just astounding, you know?
I couldn't imagine just what everyone was thinking back at the time period. I don't even know what I'm thinking now because...
What they were living through. Like, getting bit by a vampire, turning into a vampire, having your kids stolen by vampires. It's insane. And we think them crazy. We, throw them in psychiatric places just because they think differently than us.
Exactly. I read in one of the old archives that Dr. Van Helsing, he used to tell the people that they needed to keep an open mind because there were things out there that they didn't really understand, and that's like in today's society. We still can't really believe what's going on.
Hello, my name is Lucy, and today I will be talking about Gothicism and theme in the story of Dracula. Gothicism is shown due to how the weather in the area changes from a bright to a dark, eerie setting. We also think that Dracula and Jonathan Harker goes against the good versus evil due to the isolated presence of the castle that Jonathan experiences. This reminds me of what was pasted in Mina's journal when the storm was about to hit. Before the sun dipped below the black mass of Kettleness, standing boldly athwart the western sky, its downward way was marked by myriad clouds of every sunset color, flame, purple, pink, green, violet, and all the tints of gold, with here and there masses not large but of seemingly absolute blackness, and all sorts of shapes as well outlined as colossal silhouettes. This creates a gothic feeling because these colors seem bright and pretty, while half of the area was full of darkness with the feeling of colors black and gray. I also noticed when Dracula starts to control the weather, but the journalist describes this as the waves rose in growing fury, each overtopping its fellow, till in a very few minutes the lately glossy sea was like a roaring and devouring monster. Dracula starts to create an area of destruction by controlling nature and animals. Now we will talk about theme. There are many themes that can contribute to the story, but one of them was to believe in the unknown by actually discovering it. For example, when Harker first comes to Transylvania, he questions his surroundings and where he was at, but when he meets Dracula, he starts to notice something unusual about him. This shows that throughout the story how Harker gains clues to learn the actual truth about Dracula.
Wow, this is amazing news. It's so crazy that the Dracula book is actually real.
I couldn't believe that.
Happened.
I couldn't believe that when I first heard that, Josiah.
Hi, my name is Tony Davis, and today I'm going to be talking about the symbol of the color red in the book Dracula. And the three symbols I found to be the most important are evil, blood, and love. The first one, evil. Count's eyes are red, indicating some sort of evil, in my opinion, because when I think of what color best symbolizes evil, it's red. And throughout the book, it was mentioned how Dracula had his red eyes and how it put fear in everyone for the most part. The second one, blood, that's a big symbol because it's his evil temptation to drink blood. Just like in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Dr. Jekyll created a potion that would turn him into something else, something evil. So his good side was portrayed, but then a completely different person was portrayed for his evil side. And Dr. Jekyll kept drinking and drinking and drinking the potion over again. So he would become evil, and then he wouldn't be conscious of what he was doing. And that brings back to Dracula, when he kept drinking Lucy's blood, and by doing this, he was turning Lucy into a vampire, and by repeatedly sucking her blood, he was portrayed as evil because it was his evil temptation, because he didn't have to keep sucking her blood. He could have done it once and moved on to someone else, but no, he had a plan. He kept sucking Lucy's blood because of the evil inside of him. And I also think there's another reason that he kept sucking Lucy's blood. And that reason would be for love, the last symbol that I found to be most important in the book Dracula. Love is something that we all want. We all want someone to love us and care for us. And what color do you see when you walk into a store when it's like coming up on Valentine's Day? You see a bunch of red. You see a little bit of pink here and there, but for the most part red. And in my mind, I think red symbolizes love a lot in today's society and in the book. I think Dracula was so isolated that he wanted someone to be with, to be immortal with him. And I think this is why he kept drinking Lucy's blood, because he wanted a partner. He wanted someone to be there with him, to be immortal with him, like I said. And these are the most important symbols I found in the book Dracula. That's evil, blood, and love. Thank you.
It's crazy to think about these powers with these vampires. I once read this really weird essay by Cohen, and basically it talked about like monster theory, and I feel like it could really relate to the book.
Yes, this is crazy. I read an essay from Cohen that is similar to Dracula. Like in Dracula, Dracula has supernatural powers that you never even knew about or thought was possible. And in the book, and even now, they put people in like psychiatric hospitals and call them crazy for believing in this stuff. But now it is proven that this stuff actually exists. It makes you think, what are the monsters, and what is a monster actually? This is JD, CNN News.
It's really weird to think that not only Dracula is real, but also the story and the characters and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's crazy to think how many of these Gothic literature books might have actually been real.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and how Jekyll and Hyde actually relates a lot to Dracula.
I know, it's very weird to think all these different connections you can find between the two of them, even though you really wouldn't think that they'd exist.
Due to the inclusion of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in the Dracula archive, we decided to put a little bit of a compare and contrast between Jekyll and Hyde and Dracula the book itself. In Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the basic premise is that there is a good and evil that has been inside all of us, and that there is always an ongoing battle between the two. This is fairly similar in Dracula and Hyde, as the entire basis of the book is a good versus evil story, in which the vampire slayers strive to kill Dracula so that he cannot harm anyone else. As well, there are specific scenes in the book where there are small connections with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. For example, in one scene, our main character, Jonathan Harker, is shaving when Dracula comes in up behind him and is not being able to be seen in the mirror that Jonathan is shaving with. Now, most people would see this as a basic power that Dracula has where he cannot be seen and cannot see his reflection. However, we believe there is a deeper connection with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, as Jekyll and Hyde aren't able to see what the other person's doing, and the good is hidden from the evil, and the evil is hidden from the good. which could fairly be connected with Dracula, as it's his evil that allows him to not be seen in reflection.
As you can see, folks, we're just as shocked as you are as this brand new news. Stay tuned with us next week on FNN, and we'll continue this frivolous story and see what happens next. Stay tuned, and thanks for watching.